Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm back with a music review. I haven't done music reviews in a while. There's a couple albums I'm interested in doing reviews on. I keep putting it off. I don't know why. Well, I get behind on a lot of videos. There's so much stuff to review. Going to Trader Joe's and stuff like that. I have a lot of stuff, backlogged and stuff and frozen stuff. But it's fun. I love doing it. I love doing it for all of you. Well, anyways, on my live stream last night, they said Ozzy Osbourne has a new song coming out called Under the Graveyard. Now, I almost said Under the Rainbow again. When I first heard of it, I thought of the Chevy Chase movie Under the Rainbow, where I can't remember, I haven't seen it in ages, but he runs into, it was like a, kind of he runs into the Munchkins from the Wizard of Oz. Well, yeah, that's why I almost said it, like I said, I almost said Under the Rainbow. But this new song is Ozzy, back in full form doing it. I just listened to it. It premiered like 8 hours ago. And I thought I'd do a review and also tell you my personal history with Ozzy Osbourne. Because I grew up listening to him. He's been around since the 60s, late 60s. And the new song is really phenomenal. It's really, it brings across some old elements of Ozzy and some newer elements too. It's really great. It starts off a little bit like a ballad, and then his voice is so recognizable and likable, and listenable. And then somebody mentioned, it might seem like insult, but he said he could fart and belch, fart and belch wind, fart and break wind, no, belch and break wind, and it'd still be epic. Which is true. He's still phenomenal. And there's like a little bit of Black Sabbath in there in the one part. It's a great song. It's a great listen. It's very memorable. I like the song a lot, and it rocks. It's really good. I give it a 10 out of 10. I don't want to. I'll leave the link for you guys to check out for yourself. I think it's a great song. Ozzy Osbourne really has missed a beat. I don't know. Said he's 70 years of age right now, or that's pretty good. I give the song a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it. I thought I'd do that because I didn't know Ozzy Osbourne was telling a new song. I was cool with thank. My Legion lets me know of all these cool things. You know what I mean? On my live stream last night. Now, my history with Ozzy Osbourne was really unusual. He was demonized back in the 80s, especially. Um, I knew of Black Sabbath. They never played. Now, you hear Black Sabbath all the time. They never played that stuff when I was growing up. I never heard any of it. And I know, I did know he was replaced by Dio a little later on. And my first thing with rock and roll was the band Kiss. And then I started hearing all this stuff about Satanism and metal and rock and roll. And in second grade, a bunch of people said KISS stands for Kids in Satan Service, or some they say Knights in Satan Service, but back then it was Kids in Satan Service. I found out that it was just the name was just made up just by accident. He said, what's the name of our band? And then someone said, hey, how about KISS? They said, hey, it's a good idea. And then came AC/DC and stuff like that, and they demonized AC/DC. It says stand for Antichrist Devil Child. That was tough to remember. I remember I was a big fan of Devo, and my one friend, Dave Longshaw, I'll never forget this. He says, Devo is short for the devil. Give me a break. It's short for de-evolution. I knew that, and then he just gave me a look. It's short for de-evolution. But with Ozzy, yeah, he was really demonized back then. Whenever he came out with, not as much with Black Sabbath, I don't remember. Even though the name had, they said it was Satan, but they got from the Boris Karloff movie, that the Italian Boris Karloff movie, Black Sabbath. I remember mentioning this name of, I was at my grandma. I said I like bands like Nathan, like because Jesus and that, or like Black. What about Black Sabbath? Oh, you don't talk about stuff like that. You know. I did hear. I eventually heard a couple songs from a couple people about that. But I was like, and with Ozzy, he was really demonized whenever he went. Diary of a Madman, or like holding up a crucifix and stuff like that. And then the whole rumor about biting half a bat, people said, You're not listening to this. You're not listening to this. You're not listening to this. I remember my friend Forrest Feitner let me borrow. Well, I had a cassette player. Let me borrow. Speak of the Devil, and I wonder what it was that he had in his mouth. I didn't know what the heck that was. And I was still. I mean, people made you scared to listen to this stuff. I mean, could you? Until I got older and I got smarter. You know, I kind of nervous listening to this stuff, and there was nothing wrong with it. Or like they said, like if you when I got a stereo on, I got like the albums. People said they used to hide drugs and weed and stuff in the albums. I never saw anything in the albums. Yeah, I remember, we weren't allowed to listen to Ozzy, and then I think the one thing that really broke into mainstream was "Bark to the Moon," the Werewolf movie, or I mean Werewolf album, or he says "Bark to the Moon," it's "Bark to the Moon," "Bark to the Moon." And I remember dad buying that. I bought that. I bought that for myself or dad, but I can't remember. For me, and mom said, "I didn't think you liked someone that bit the head off the bat." Oh. She was she was the one that really suppressed a lot of that stuff. Like, I was gonna buy. For those about to rock ACD, she said, "Let me look at the back of this." And she looked and said, "I don't like the names of these songs." I did buy it though. Or like I remember at a family reunion, Brian Callan let me get he says, "Okay if I give him the ACDC album back?" My mom said, "Sure, it's okay." If it was me asked for that, she'd say no, but she didn't want to embarrass herself or look horrible. I don't know. And he would, I got that on 8-track. That was my very first ACDC album. And then mom said, "You're never listening to ACDC again. My friend said that they had an album called If You Want Blood, You Got It. It showed a guy stabbing himself with a guitar. You're never listening to ACDC again." But I still had a couple albums on my stereo, which I still listen to. I had that, Back in Black, Those About to Rock, and Fly on the Wall. Those are the ones I had. And with Ozzy and stuff, whenever he had, see, I'm going all over the place once again. We had Bark of the Moon. I mean, that's when I started seeing him more and more, and I started like, there's nothing wrong with this stuff. Because parents and like religious people, they have their preconceived notions, and they scare the crap out of kids that don't know. I mean, they are still kids and impressionable. You know what I mean? Say, don't listen to this only. And then when you get older and have like more thought, you found that there's nothing wrong with this. It's good. It's awesome. There wasn't anything wrong with it in the first place. You just listened to adults that didn't know any better, who didn't want you to listen to what they didn't like. And with that album, I remember there was a station my mom used to listen to called WREO, Easy Listening Station. And she is the country too. A lot of times people listen to like easy listen stuff are little assholes. She was one too. I remember they had a commercial that WREO. We play just easy listening music, and this was in some of the commercials. Okay, we play easy listening music, and never Ozzy Osbourne. We never play Ozzy Osbourne. Then mom was listening to REO. I heard it when she's getting ready for work, and they played "So Tired," which was his ballad from Bark of the Moon. They said they're playing Ozzy Osbourne on here. Who cares? Who cares? They said on the commercial they don't play Ozzy Osbourne. They lied. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? What you said? She's like she's another Aunt Dorothy. My mom. My mom's still alive too. And then soon after that, when I got in the army, I did have that one. I never really had any real Black Sabbath albums to really listen to. I mean, I did get Paranoid later on. And I did get the CD, the 8-track for Mob Rules for Roddy J. Dio, because I love that song. I remember hearing that from the heavy metal soundtrack. And then I started, whenever I got in the army, all the stuff that was suppressed for me, I started buying on cassette. Not after basic training. After basic training, because, I had a Walkman and stuff like that. I started buying all the Black Sabbath stuff I missed out on because my mom wouldn't let me listen to that stuff. I was allowed to listen to Devo, but Devo's not metal, but Devo's awesome. And, mom said, "They're so weird, they're so weird, they're so weird." And then my sister was talking to my mom about something. And mom said, "It's glad to listen to something more contemporary." I don't follow. I don't. I listen to good stuff. I don't follow the rules. I don't follow. I don't have to. I'm me. I'm who I am. You know. I try. I'm a decent person, but I mean, I'm not a controlling bitch like she was. She is. Or anything like that. But it is weird because I mean, like the religious right and stuff like that. Really, I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, and then they had the whole thing with records playing backwards and stuff like that. I remember my friend Brian Coburn, his friend made him burn all his CDs and say he said or his cassettes. They didn't have CDs back then, and saying like they're all bad and stuff like that. He said he couldn't give them away or anything like that. And a lot of times, my link to metal was some people let me borrow some 8 tracks and stuff like that, or cassettes. Or my one friend Bruce Sokolowski, he made a 2 cassettes with a bunch of edited songs. Like I mean, not edited, but songs like Judas Priest and stuff like that. I did have to get the like I said in high school years, a little bit different, because she realized I had thought I make my own, and I got like the one Judas Priest album, Rock and Roll, one of his earlier stuff, which was really good, and also like I always liked Alice Cooper and stuff like that. I had a little bit of Alice Cooper. I remember he came back with Constrictor song. He's back. That was a great song, And then of course, I had the tape player. Of course, my mom had to take it so she can listen to her radio or those the country or whatever, So that's my review. I think it's a great song. I think it's a wonderful song. I want to talk about my history with Ozzy Osbourne. And then, like I said, when I got into the Army, I don't think people had the impression of Ozzy Osbourne that they do now. Now it's a lot different. They saw in Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, the Metal Years. That's probably the most well-known one. Well, the first one was Punk, but this one was the more widestream one, And they showed him, like, just, drinking coffee in the bathroom before dinner and stuff, and before breakfast. And little did people know that was a foreshadowing of the show The Osbournes. Well, they really did become popular and likable, except to Bill Maher, of course. In all these episodic reality shows, which I love that show on MTV. I even bought Aunt Helen the book, The Osbourne, and my dad said, she's not going to read that. I bought it for her. I thought, well, no, I didn't buy it for her. I bought it for myself, and I gave it to her when I was done. And she said she liked the show. And, yeah, he's back doing songs again. I think it's brilliant. I really liked it. He even did a ballad with Miss Piggy, which I thought was funny. But I mean, I would never consider Ozzy Osbourne mainstream, but I consider him more acceptable for people now. Yeah, but he's just a regular guy. You know what I mean? I mean, they demonized him so much back then because people are ignorant, or they want to preach, and they want you to believe what they want you to believe, and they said you have no thoughts of your own. You have to believe what we want you to believe. So, my mom was the same way. Very controlling. But after a while, things got a little different. I got into the whole thrash and death metal and stuff like that. But I mean, that's later on. But I did get, I didn't really hear a lot of that stuff back then. It was one until I because we didn't have cable or Headbangers Ball or anything like that. We had Night Rocks, and they had a couple songs. They had a song from Trouble Run the Light, which I really loved. I had a hell of a time finding that album. I got that later on. I remember Death Angel. I was introduced to the band Death Angel from that. They did the Voracious Souls video. I remember buying Ultraviolence before I was in the Army too, which was cool. And I remember getting the Ramones stuff too. That was awesome too. I love the Ramones. So I hope you like this review of Ozzy Osbourne's new song, Under the Rainbow. I mean, god damn it. Ozzy Osbourne's new song, Under the Graveyard. So I'm going to say Under the Graveyard. And also my history with Ozzy Osbourne. So until next time, bye please. Take care, my legion.